time for us to delve deeper into the context of self-love. Now, self-love is a phrase that we often hear, we often say, and sometimes often claim to practice. But truly practicing it can sometimes feel much more complicated and much more complex than we had given ourselves room to understand. In a world where we are constantly demanding from others, demanding of ourselves, time requires us, people require us, your cell phone requires you, your child requires you, the job that you prayed for requires you. It often feels like your attention, your energy is always at a deficit. Many people are searching for ways to reconnect with themselves, find balance, and create moments of healing in their daily lives. Now, our next guest believes that self-love isn't just an idea. It's something we can actively practice through small, intentional habits that nurture our mind, our body, and our spirit rather. Now, Teagen Kruger is the founder of Ostara Healing and has spent over a decade working as a yoga instructor, meditation guide, as well as a Theta healer. And we'll learn about all of these in just a short bit. Teagen, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to African Diaries.
Good evening, Shayla. Thank you so much for having me on.
Teagen, this is not the first time you joined the show, so I'm really excited to be talking to you because I've got many questions. I think you were here for a different subject matter, but now we're going to get into the thicket of what it is that you have to offer. If I'm not mistaken, you have been with us before, yes?
Yes, I definitely have.
Lovely. Let's start off by giving definition to theta. I understand that this is there's a concept around it that I believe that if we establish now, when we do get into the subject matter, people will have a greater understanding of what it is you are sharing with us. What is theta?
So, theta is really just meditating or healing in the theta brain state. So, scientifically, you have your alpha, beta, theta, delta. And your theta brain state is the brain state that you are in when you are asleep. So it's what we call the subconscious mind. And why we call it theta healing is we just take ourselves through a deep breath work and meditational practice into that theta brain state. And then in that brain state, we can do a lot of really deep healing because we believe that a lot of our conditioning from our childhood, a lot of our limiting beliefs about ourselves, things that we believe about ourselves, about other people, about the world, a lot of that sits within the subconscious mind. So when we access the subconscious mind, we can really get to the sort of crux or the really deep root of what it is that is stopping us really feeling the best self.
And this is all established through deep breath work?
Deep breath work, deep meditation. It's really a process of just guiding yourself slowly down into your own mind, guided by yourself. You just learn how to take yourself to a really deep space within yourself.
And what's Reiki?
So Reiki it's more of a body healing. Reiki is very beautiful, but obviously in the Reiki philosophy, we believe that Reiki energy, it's universal energy. It's what you would call God energy. And all you do is you channel that energy in through yourself. And you can either use it to heal yourself or you can use it to heal others. But it's really about using yourself almost as a channel with very good intentions of love and wholeness, and then using those intentions to just channel the energy of the all that is into other people or into yourself for some beautiful light body healing.
And then lastly, Teagen, what is crystal healing?
So crystal healing is just healing using the crystals of the earth. And 12% of the earth's crust is actually made up of quartz. So crystals are massively abundant, massively abundant. And if you believe in the crystal philosophy, it's an ancient philosophy. Multiple people and tribes for thousands of generations have used crystals for their spiritual, physical healing benefits, but same sort of concept where it's a channel of energy.
Now, Tegan, I want us to get a little deeper for those who are saying, listen, all of this sounds very mythical, very
Yes,
mystical,
yes.
very not tangible, as in I can't touch these things. I don't understand where they go and how they go. Perhaps let's explain the concept of energy. I mean, we know it through the science, but let's explain the concept of bodily energy, of natural energies, of God state energy, and how these come into existence.
Beautiful. So, I mean, scientifically, at the core of every single one of us is it's atoms, and those atoms aren't always fixed atoms. And that's how I think you would almost describe energy. It's atoms, or it's things that are, more malleable, and that it comes and it goes. So the body has its own energy. Every living thing has an energy to it. And the body has an energy, the mind has an energy.
Sure. The voice there of Teagen Kruger joining us this evening. Teagen has had over 10 years worth of experience as a yoga instructor, meditation guide, as well as a Theta healer. And essentially, we're here to understand how these can better state us in our day to day lives. If you are sitting and you're like, listen, I stress at home and I stress at work and I stress when I'm on holiday and I think I stress when I sleep, this is the conversation you want to be listening to. And then your questions too as well. Find us on WhatsApp +2783 288 6684. Tegan, let's now look at some of the work that you do and sort of contextualize it when thinking of self-love. I understand that you believe that self-love can be practiced on the daily. I feel like I need a spa treatment. I need a day off. In actual fact, if you give me a week off, but I still get paid, that's the best form of self-love. But you're saying to us, no, hold up. Everyday little practices can manifest a form, an experience, an energy exchange of self-love to self.
Definitely. I think what self-love is at its core, it's almost the highest dedication to wanting the best for yourself. So even though self-love can seem quite easy, with a face mask or a manicure or a pedicure here and there, real self-love, true self-love is actually about taking time and taking spaces within your daily life where you can just stop and check in with yourself, really start to understand yourself, check in and see how you're going throughout the day, how you're feeling, how you're handling the day, if there's maybe perhaps anything you could do for yourself, because we are so very externally focused. And I think what small daily habits can do is very gently teach us to take some time out in our day to actually go inwards and start to really build a powerful connection with ourselves and our needs and our wants and our desires, instead of focusing on everybody else's wants and desires and needs.
Tegan, when you say take the time to stop and check in and find out how you feel, I feel like a lot of us run away from that because that very feeling is what's going to slow me down. So if I take into account that I'm actually emotionally charged at the state and this and that and that and this, I might not perform at what I deem is my level best. I suppose, how do we speak to, how do we engage with the parts of ourselves that are not up to standard for the task in front of us? What do we do in that moment when we've checked in and we're not doing so good?
So I think one of the most beautiful things, and yes, it is difficult, but one of the most beautiful things that you could give to yourself is acceptance in times like that. And a beautiful quote that I love to use is, even though I don't like this, I accept it, because it's this way because it's supposed to be this way. So the best thing to do is, you are the only person who's judging whether the way you're feeling is good or bad, or you should be feeling better or not better. So instead of checking in to almost go, am I good or not good? Rather just check in to say, without any judgment, however you are, I am so deeply accepting of it, but just checking in. not coming in with a, you have to be good, or if you're not good, rather coming in with a, I just want to see how you are. I'm not here to say it's one way or the other way. And even if it's not the best feeling ever, I'm going to greet this feeling with acceptance, understanding that there's a reason I'm feeling this way. And when I'm ready, I will come to sort of shift that and process that.
Teagen, do you believe that we should separate our emotions from our actions? And I say this because a lot of people are inspired by how they feel. So I don't feel up to task. I'm upset. I'll leave what I'm doing. Or I'm really excited, so I will put my best foot forward. And that's the, if you will, that's the engine power that I'm going to use to get through my day. What other engine can we use? Are we supposed to separate the two? Do they work in tandem? What's the chat there?
So I definitely think that, whether it's the best feeling ever or the worst feeling ever, the most important thing we can learn is that nothing is constant. Everything is going to constantly change throughout the day. So you could be feeling great one moment and then not feeling good the next hour, or vice versa. So not necessarily separating, but understanding, moving into a space of more of an observation, more of a just a witnessing rather than a judging and wishing that you were different or not different, but more of a just witnessing the self and how the self is feeling. And if it needs, I'm sorry you're feeling this way, I still love you and I still think you're worthy. Small little things that you can say to yourself to just let yourself know you are accepting of the way things are, but that you're working towards an improvement.
And Teagen, you're saying that we should have conversations with self, is what I'm somewhat interpreting
Yeah.
from the conversation. How do we overcome overwhelming emotions? Because I tend to find that because we are overstimulated in the world we live in, we sort of avoid self because self is a can of worms waiting to happen. And so for those who let's say in this very moment, as Shayla's broadcasting, I'm overwhelmed by sadness. What can I do with that state of being? So I've accepted that this is where I am. However, I still need to perform. I still need to do the show. What tangible practice can I use now to send to
Yeah.
Shayla and go, there is sadness, but there's also Shayla who can do her job?
Yes, definitely. I think, some beautiful practical tools. The breath is the most amazing thing in the world. And the breath can shift your emotions and shift the energy that you're feeling so very quickly. Something as small as, just sitting back, rolling your shoulders back, breathing in long, deep inhales, holding it for a count of two, and then very slowly exhaling. Something as simple as really slowing your breath down, feeling your breath, following your breath can really help you to move from this very focused, sad or angry or jealous energy into more of a present state.
Sure. And for those conversations that we may not be familiar with, that the good kind chats to self. For somebody who's
Yeah.
saying, listen, I've never done this. I hear you tell me to do it, but I kind of even don't know where I would begin addressing
Yeah.
myself. What's a practical way to start that conversation and keep it going?
Beautiful. I love that question. So, Shayla, I think the first thing to do is, and I know it might sound weird, but is to almost act like you're meeting yourself for the first time. And that you've got to basically start from the beginning. You've got to go in and say, okay, when you are ready in a very gentle manner, I want you to just start to show me, what are some of your likes? What are some of your dislikes? Almost as if you were getting to know a friend, because so many of us don't have any relationship with self. And it is as if you're meeting someone for the first time ever, and you've really got to build on getting to know that person, their likes, their dislikes, what motivates them, what disheartens them, all those beautiful things.
Teagen, as we come to the end of this conversation, for those who want to take it a step further, they're saying, I've heard the tangible, practical tools. I'm now understanding that self-love is a dedication to me becoming my highest self. You know, I want to now step into a session with Teagen. I perhaps want to do yoga or look into Theta healing or look into Reiki as something that I can approach Teagen for. Where do they find you?
So they can find me on Instagram at Ostara Healing, or they can email me at Teagen Webster, WEBSTER, at gmail.com. And any questions, any queries, anything, I would be happy, even if you just want to chat. I would be happy to just chat with you, give you some advice, some guidance, nothing serious. I'm just happy to chat to anyone who'd like to chat.
I think lastly, Teagen, let's end off with some breath work. Yeah? Can you take us through some breath work?
Beautiful.
This is
I
for,
absolutely can.
yes, this is for smack in the middle of the day. You're perhaps overwhelmed by
Yeah.
everything that's expected of you, and you just want to re-energize. Walk us through how we do this.
Beautiful. So first things first, you want to really sit up. You want to drop your shoulders back. And then you always want to just close the eyes so that you can move internally. A beautiful thing to do is you start to focus, you move your senses onto the breath. So you start to, even though your eyes are closed internally, you start to watch your breath. So watch your breath go in your body, down your throat and into the lungs on your inhale. And then watch your breath go back out your lungs, back up your throat, and back out your nose on the exhale. Just start to also listen to the sound that your breath makes. And then you feel the rise and the fall of the belly and the chest. So you breathe in and you listen, you watch, and you feel the breath. And then you breathe out and you listen, you watch, and you feel the breath. Now we're going to breathe in, take a nice deep inhale. Hold the breath for 1, 2. Now open your mouth and slowly exhale. Breathe in. Hold the breath for 1, 2. Slowly exhale out the mouth. One more, breathe in. Hold the breath for 1, 2, and then exhale slowly out the mouth. And you can just continue to repeat this as many times as you need until you start to feel the energy shifting.
Oh, Teagen, how I would love to go into my blankies this very moment. I am so relaxed. Thank you so much for
So,
that, yeah?
thank you, Shaila.
You have yourself a fantastic one, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening, and I hope everybody is blessed and loved you all.
Absolutely. The voice there of Teagen Kruger, the founder of Ostara Healing, who has spent over 10 years in the spaces of yoga, of Theta meditation, of Reiki, as well as of crystal healing. And she walked us through breath work. I don't know about you, but I need music, okay? We're going to get some music. Let's get some music.